Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to modernize your 4runner with this high definition dash cam and reverse cam. Alright, these are some of the tools and parts we're going to be using for this project. So here I have the dash cam rear view mirror itself. It comes with this pry tool already included, and we're going to be using this to conceal the wire into the headliner. Phillips head screwdriver if your vehicle needs one. Some zip ties to help with cable management. We have some tap splice, and this will help you do the reverse wire, and I'll show you guys how to do that. We also need a wire snake and some electrical tape in the event that you need to run some wires. And in my case, I'm going to have to run the reverse wire through the hatch. And then it helps to have some crimping tools and some cutters, so that way you can clean up some of the excess zip ties here. And then optionally, if you want to hardwire your dash cam so that it's always on when the key is in the ignition, then you can buy a hardwire dash cam kit. This kit's about $10 to $15 on Amazon, and it's well worth it. It'll give you a cleaner install, and it'll be completely integrated with the key. So in here, you can see here it has a hardwire kit, and it goes to the same mini USB, and then it has a add a fuse or add a circuit. So you got to just figure out which size fits in your vehicle. In my case, it's this one, and then it comes with various 15 amp fuses that you can use. I've just chosen to use a 10 amp one. All right, let's move everything out of the way and open up the box just to make sure that everything is included and nothing is missing. So all we really care about here is the mounting hardware, as well as the camera and the power wire and the reverse wire. So you can see here, this is the camera unit itself. So you can see here, this is the reverse camera, and it comes with a quick disconnect, which is kind of nice. So that way you can just feed this yellow wire through the back and then plug it in once you get there. This plugs into the unit. And then on here, there should be a stripped end. There it is. That is a reverse wire. This here is the power connector. It's just a standard USB cable with a cigarette outlet. So if you plan on just running a cigarette outlet, this is all you need. And then obviously these are to retain the camera itself to your existing mirror. So there should be a couple sets in there. Oh, there's the other set. And then here, this is the adhesive for the camera, the rear camera itself. One other thing I forgot to mention earlier is you will need a micro SD for this to record. So get yourself, a decent write speed. I'm using a Samsung Evo 128 gigabyte one. All right, this here is the unit itself. You can see it's a VanTop and it has the cover on it still. But before you actually go too far, you want to make sure that this unit is actually not malfunctioning. And these are coming from China, so more likely than not they might be broken, and you want to make sure that it's not broken before you go through the hassle of running all your wires. So you can see here I've got the cigarette outlet plugged in and it's powered, and we're gonna go ahead and just plug this guy in to see if it actually turns on. Alright, so as you can see there, it turned on, and these units are designed to turn on when there's power. So you want to plug it into a circuit that actually has power when the key is on. And usually that's a cigarette outlet, and that's why they give you this plug. So everything seems to be functioning, and there's no problems here, so we're going to go ahead and move forward with the install. Alright you guys, I've gone ahead and removed my old dash cam mirror. Most likely you're going to be starting at this position with no mirror. And you'll see I have no mirror here. It's because I broke it trying to fix some things in here. And that's one of the reasons why I actually have one of these cameras. So the first thing you're going to do is grab the camera, and you're going to want to grab two of the straps that it comes with. They're all the same size, so it doesn't really matter. And we're going to be using the inner tabs here to mount this camera. And then one thing to note is this camera is actually adjustable. So you can see here this camera moves out and in. And we're going to leave it all the way out for now, so that way it doesn't interfere with our installation. And then it also adjusts up and down as well. So you can see here it goes up and down, and we can fine tune that later. So let's go ahead and just put this on, and I'll show you guys. It's really simple. Just put it in here, get the strap around the back, and just pull down really hard, and then get it into the channel there. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Okay, and you can do a little bit of work to hide these or cut it off if you don't want to see it, which I'll probably do that later. And then now's a good time to kind of adjust your mirror a little bit. And you'll see over here I made it so that it still clears the passenger side visor, and that's because I still want this to be fully functional. And on this side, there's no way you're going to clear the driver's side one. It's just going to get in the way no matter what, and that's because of this camera right here. So now you're going to want to push this camera all the way back in, so that way it doesn't stick out too much. Kind of depends on what you want and how, you know, centered it is up here. All right, now that it's fully adjusted to the way I like it, we're going to go ahead and move on to the power installation. All right, you guys, now that we have the camera installed, what we're going to do is we're going to run the wire down to the center here where the cigarette outlet is. And most cars have their cigarette outlet in the center. So this is how we're going to run it right now, but I'm going to do a last minute change to hardwire it to a different location. But I'm going to show you guys this route first. The easiest way to get this wire over there is first, you don't want to run it from here out to here. You want to run this side into here. That way the wire will actually fit through here because this side is a lot smaller. So open up your weather guard and just peel it back a little bit, and you can put it back in pretty easily. And then here's where your pry tool might come in handy. You want to just pry it a little bit so that way you can fit this thing in here. Otherwise you might have to take off this handle, which mine is impossible to take off, so I'm not going to be doing that. And just have to, you know, open this up a little bit and then just stick that in there, maybe on top, because there might be a piece of trim in there, and then try to fish it to the other side up the top here. There we go. Okay, now that the wire is through, we're going to route it over here to the dash cam itself and then plug it in. And I know you can't see this, but it's pretty simple. Just plug it in. Okay, now that it's plugged in, we're going to focus on this wire here, and we're just going to tuck it up under the headliner, and then that way we can't see that wire. And you just need to use, you know, either edge that works and just jam it up in there so that way you can't see it. And then just pull the excess out. Just like that. And then this over here, same thing, just do it as much as you can, as much as you like. You want a little bit extra just in case you need to adjust your mirror, but you don't want too much. And remember, we're going to be putting that reverse wire in here as well, so make sure you have enough room for that. All right, that's it. Okay, next step is to hide this wire, and you can put some of your trim back on just so that it kind of holds the wire in there. And then what you're going to want to do is just open this up a little bit more and run it along here, and you can jam it in there. And if you have any airbags, make sure you don't get in front of the airbag, but you shouldn't if you follow this weather strip. Okay, so we're just going to keep going down, and as you kind of go down, pull the stripping out a little bit, and then just stick the stripping back in so that way it holds it. And then once you get to here, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get this wire through there, so you might have to just go all the way down and over, and then just try to hide it down here as best you can. So use this pry tool that it came with and just keep the wire in there. Nobody's really going to be looking in this corner, and if they really are nosy, tell them to mind their own business. All right, so there you go. We have it all the way down, and now we're going to work on the bottom. All right, well, we're down here now, and you can't really see that well, but what you're going to want to do is route this wire to the back, as far back as you can. And then, see this carpet? It actually comes forward. And what you're going to want to do is put this wire under the carpet, so that way nobody can see it. Because the carpet's never going to lift when you put this trim back on. So just run it all the way back there. And there's actually Velcro back there as well that will keep it from coming forward. And I already have other wires back there, and nobody's really noticed anything. So, and then once you get to this part, this is where you just run it down here, again under the carpet. You can pull this back as well, and if you want to take this trim off, you can, but I don't really think it's necessary. You can just tuck it under and then plug it in. All right, so I have a little bit of extra wire, but obviously you can just take that wire and put it on the carpet and no one would ever see it. All right, there we go. So you can see there, it's pretty neat, and there's really one wire only sticking out, plugging into the cigarette outlet. And if this is all you want to do, then so be it. But if you want to go a step further and hide all that wire, you can actually add your own circuit for that particular camera. So I'm going to show you guys that. If you guys aren't interested in that, you guys can skip to the later part of the video. Alright guys, I went ahead and pulled the old wire out, and you can see here I ran the new wire in here, and it's the exact same process, and I'm going to show you where we're at now. Right down here is where that wire ended up, so I actually did choose to run it down this pillar. It's the exact same process, and you can see I took out this bolt right here, and just once I got the wire over to here, you can this thing actually comes apart as well, so you can pull it out and stick the wire across. Take this bolt out and you can sneak the wire back here, and that's kind of where we're at right now, and the wires in the back. So if you look at the fuse cover here, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of things in there, and what you're going to want to look for is something that's going to be on when the key is in the on position or accessory position. It kind of depends on what you want. So in my case, I could tap into the ignition, which is only going to turn on when you're in the on position, you know, when the gas ignites. Or you can pick something else like accessory right there at the top middle, 15 amps. You can pick that as well. In my case, that's always on and it's always hot, so that's not going to work for me. But that should work just fine for you guys if you decide to go that route. Now for me, I'm going to be choosing the wiper blade. You can see it's a 20 amp circuit. So most likely my wiper blade and my wipers aren't going to always be on. And even when it is, it's probably not going to draw 20 amps. And the dash cam itself only draws 2.5 amps max. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick that circuit since it's kind of far away from my other ATA circuit, and it shouldn't give me a problem. So all you're going to want to do is just pull that fuse out. So it's this one right here. And we're still going to use that fuse, so don't throw it away. And then once you pull that fuse out, you're going to want to put it in this ATA circuit. And you'll see I already have mine pre-fused for 10 amps on the top slot there. And the one that's kind of parallel or in line with the fuse itself is the new line. So the old one is going to go on the bottom. So we're going to put this one, let's see, right here. And that'll preserve the old circuit for the wiper blades and wiper motor. So just like that, we should still have our wiper blade. And then whatever we plug into this end is going to be the 10 amp circuit here. Alright you guys, I've got that ATA circuit plugged in, as you can see on that wiper blade or wiper motor spot, and you can see I've pointed it to the right since it won't go to the left. And you can see the female end is just dangling here. And what you're going to do now is just take this end, which is from the hardwire kit, and plug that into there. And obviously plug it from underneath, maybe from in here. That way it's concealed a little bit, and that way you can hide the wires. And then on this side, the ground, what you're going to want to do is, you can see here, there are a lot of existing bolts that are already connected to the sheet metal there, and you're going to want to just connect it to one of those. And I'll show you guys in a second. It's a little cramped in here, but I'll show you guys what it looks like once it's connected. Alright guys, there it is. You can see this wire right here, back here, is connected to the ground bolt now. And I'm just going to figure out how to zip tie all this out of the way, and then we should be done with the hardwire kit. So I'm going to take a couple zip ties and just strap it up somewhere up there out of the way, and let's go ahead and fire it up and see if it works. All right, let's go ahead and put the key in the ignition and turn it to the on position, and let's see if it fires up. All right, that's a success. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up all the wiring, and then we're gonna head to the back and finish up the reverse wiring. All right guys, now we're gonna wire the reverse camera. It's exactly the same way. I took the camera apart already. This end goes into the camera. The other end connects to the reverse camera. It's just a yellow plug. It's on the ground right now. And we're gonna run this across the top just like earlier. Same exact way. And I won't even use the pry tool this time. All right, there we go. All right, next step is just to run it down the same way we did earlier. I wanted to cut in here just to let you guys know that I actually did run the wire down the floorboard all the way to the back of the hatch. And then I realized that the wire was gonna be too short. So I wanted to warn you guys before you actually went that route, and I'll show you guys a little bit later in the video how I actually ran it across the top. All right, back here, you want to take off this panel. It's held on by 4 Phillips head screws, and you just pull back and it should come off pretty easily. Up here, you're gonna have to pop this cover off. It might be a little difficult. And then once you do that, you gotta take off the 4 screws, and then it should slide right out. And then there's a plug back there that you wanna just disconnect. And then once you do that, you should be able to pull this panel off by just pulling on it. It's held on by clips, and you can see mine's a little bit broken, so be a little bit careful. But once you get that apart, there's 2 screws under there that you have to remove to get the side panel off. Here we're just removing the screws that hold on the cargo carrier. And then up top, I mentioned that screw earlier, you have to take that apart. And then in the back where the cargo carrier is actually held on, you're going to remove those 2 screws so that way you can remove the side paneling. And then you can just pull away and it'll start to pop. And I didn't show it, but I removed that cigarette outlet as well. All you got to do is just pop it free from the cover. And then here you're going to want to pop out this panel. You are going to have to take apart that floor panel that's kind of blocking this thing from coming out. It's held on by 2 screws. And then here, I forgot to take off that cover inside that little cubby there. You're going to want to lift up to remove that. And then once you do that, it should be free now. Now you won't be able to completely remove it because of the seat belt, but you should be able to just push it to the side here like what I'm doing so it's out of the way. Alright guys, ran into a problem. One thing I noticed is this wire is too short. So I think all of that extra wire that we ran down and now all the way across and back up and over just wasn't enough. Alright guys, I went ahead and pulled the wire all the way back up to here again. This is where we inserted it. So now I'm just going to run this along the top. And you just got to open up the weather guard and just stick it in between just like before. Should be pretty easy. Shouldn't have any wires in here. And there should be enough room for this little tiny wire to go through. And then once you get to this part, you're gonna have to take this panel off. Just pull it. And it should come off. There we go. All right, once you pop it out, you're gonna wanna pass this through behind it to the other side so we can grab it. You wanna make sure it's behind those clips. There we go. Just pull it all the way through. That. All right, at this point you can put this back in now. All right, we're gonna just keep going back. Peel this down. Stick it in there. And we're gonna want it back all the way back here. Okay. All right, now that we got our wire over here, we're gonna continue along the top here. And this is where that tool comes in handy to get it up in the headliner, but doesn't look like we need it. Now you wanna make sure you stay clear of these holes because that's where the clips go in. Alright guys, so we've got it way over here. I've tucked it under this headliner here, all the way over to here, and we got to get through this this guy here as well. Alright guys, this is probably the hardest part of the job, so you got to be extra careful because there's not a whole lot of room. But you want to rip off this thing. It's just, you know, suction fit on there or pressure fitted on there. You just got to pull it off. And you can see you got to get the wire from down here up to here. But what you're going to do is put the snake through here, and then once it gets through, you're going to get this guy all the way up through here. At least get it to here first, and then we're going to do the snake from here to here once we get this through here. This is the harder part. Now I already have a wire through here. You can see here, this is my old reverse camera. So I'm just gonna use this to pull my wire through, but since you guys don't have a wire, just remember you're gonna have to use your wire snake. Get it through here, all the way down to here. Just be careful, there's a lot of wires in here. And you can see I already performed a repair in here. My brake light wire actually went out and I had to patch it up. So the wires in here have a tendency to break. So like I said, I'm going to be using my existing wire, but just pretend this was your snake. And I apologize that this part is really hard to do and you might struggle a little bit, but just spray a whole bunch of soapy water in there. Eventually it'll get through, I hope. Now you'll notice that the red wire stays out here with us. This is going to go to the reverse light, so don't pull this one all the way through. Let me see if I can take this guy apart. Oh, broke it. That's what you got to be careful about with these old plastic pieces, and plus not using it correctly either. All right, so I'm gonna open this up, see if that'll help. And you just got to get it from underneath. I kind of broke mine here. It's better than breaking this clip though. Okay, I'm gonna try to give it a straight shot so it can actually get through there. Helps to have someone push it while you're pulling it, but I'm by myself, so I'm gonna have to just make do with what I got here. Okay, there we go. Got it through, guys. It wasn't too bad. It didn't take that long, fortunately. I think it'll be easier with the wire snake once you get it through there, because the wire snake's a lot stronger. All right, guys, we're at the next step, and we're gonna be taking apart this panel right here, because we're gonna be running the wire along this tailgate up here, and we need to get access to the back of that so we can get it to the back of the vehicle. So you're gonna need to pop off this little tab right here where the pull handle is, and it's gonna take a 10mm to take that off. Go ahead and take that apart. Try not to lose the bolt. And then grab yourself a pry tool, or you probably can do whatever you want actually. And we're just gonna pop it open. Now I have a little window switch here, which you won't have, but I have a little connector in here. And all you gotta do is lift up forward. Okay. And there we go. All right, guys, next step is to wire it to back here, and I'm gonna have to remove this black panel. They're all 10mm. Whoa. Okay, well, the wire's strong enough to hold it, so let's just leave it like that. All right, you guys, we got the window back up. If you have somebody to help you, make sure you hold that window up a little bit. And once it gets onto the tracks, it'll hold itself. All right, guys, so right in here, you can see my old wire right there. It's ran right back there with all of the wires. So you can see I just zip tied it back there. So we're gonna be snaking the new wire down that wire loom channel down there, and you can bet that that wiring harness will not hit the window here, because that's the factory wiring. So like I mentioned, just put this wire snake through here and kind of feed it all the way over there. You can see it's already going, and I don't need to do that because, like I said, I already have a wire in here, so I'm just going to use that for my snake. But once you get to that side, you can tape this wire onto this end and then pull this wire out some more, and it'll take that line all the way back there. Okay, so I'm just gonna tape it to these 3 wires here, since I gotta pull all 3 anyways, and get it through there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this guy through now. Let's see. Helps to guide it. So just pretend that I'm just pulling the snake instead of this wire. And then when you run out of wire, make sure you pull some more out. And remember, this red wire needs to stay here. We're gonna have to extend it. it's almost here. All right guys, here it is, got the wire. All right guys, so this wire was getting a little short on me and I had to do an extension. And like I mentioned, I already have a reverse camera before, so I already had this wire already in here. I actually had two wires, but I'm using the red one, which is the positive one. All right, let me show you guys how this wire runs. So I'm just zip tying it to the existing wiring here. It goes down into this hole. Ignore this black wire for now. That doesn't do anything on this one. And then you can see here it's running to the tail light. All right, the tail light's held on by two 10 millimeters, or you can use a Phillips head, and then you just got to push it that way. And then you can see here, I just put the wire through this existing grommet. Just poked a hole. You can see it's right here, this guy right here. And then it just runs up along the same wiring. So here you can see the top bulb is the reverse light, and you can see there's two wires that come out of it. The red one that I have is going to the red with blue stripe. This is the positive wire, and then this is the negative. So if you need both, then you can use both. If you just have one, then this is the wire you want. And if you recall, this tap splice, so what you can do is you can open it up and put your reverse wire through one of the holes here, and then put the other wire through the other hole. And then you just take some pliers and just crimp it down and close it. So you'll have this in here basically, and then that's all you need. So you don't need to cut your wire or anything like that. So since mine's already, I think, soldered in here, I'm just gonna leave it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just button all this up. We can finally close this back down. There's a little bit of excess wire here. It's probably better to leave it on this side, not in the window itself. So I'm going to pull this all the way back through and hide it in here somewhere. All right guys, I wanted to show you guys a close-up of how to put this back on, because it is kind of a tricky situation. You actually do have to take this out. So just get yourself a little pick like this. And under here, you'll see there are two little clips. There's one right there. Just poke that in and lift. And then the other side, same thing. And that'll get one side out, and then just push it towards you, and that's how you get it out. And then to get it back in, you don't want to push it in because you want the seal on there first. So bring the seal back down and wrap it around. Can rotate it. Okay, now once you have it on there, then you can push it back in, and that'll give you the seal. All right guys, I temporarily closed the hatch, and I wanted to show you guys where I'm going to mount the camera. It's in the exact same spot as the other one, and you'll see under here that there's already one screw on here that you can reuse. So I'll go ahead and just take that out. I think it holds the light back here. And then I use 3M double-sided tape on the other side, and it seems to be holding, so you can see the light's trying to come out with it. So I'll go ahead and just get that off of there. So there you go. Alright you guys, so we're going to go ahead and put on the new camera now, and the camera actually came with some adhesive, as you can see, and I just cut a little bit of it out so that way it doesn't interfere with the screw. So make sure the surface is clean, which mine is. So let's go ahead and just put this guy on now. Just peel off the adhesive here. And make sure you guys line it up straight. Otherwise you have to do it again. Alright, just hold it there for about 30 seconds. Let it get nice and tight. Now when you tighten in this screw, it's going to want to kind of lift the other side. So make sure you don't tighten it too much. And you still have the ability to aim this thing, so just got to tighten the screws on the side, and I'll fine tune this later. I'm going to go ahead and pull this camera out. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and stick that wire through this little corner right here. There's a little bit of material in there that you can probably just punch out. It's like, I don't know, foam or something. And you just stick it through there and find it on the other side. You don't really need a wire snake, I don't think. Alright, there we go. And we're going to go hunt for it on the other side, and should be done back here after we fine tune this, of course. So let's go ahead and go find that wire. All right, open the panel back up and I'm not seeing the wire, but if you actually look right back there where that yellow plug is, you can kind of see that wire back there. We're gonna have to grab that thing somehow. All right, let's see if I can get that guy down here. There we go. And we're just gonna run this along. Just gonna run this along the top here with all the other wires. That way we can just zip tie that. All right guys, we got it ran across here and we're just gonna make that final connection. It only goes on one way. There we go. And make sure you pull that wire all the way through. It is. And we're just gonna zip tie everything up now. Tight. Make sure the window doesn't get in the way. Alright guys, here's the final product. You can see the wires coming out of there. Zip tied up against all those wires. And then on this side, we just got the wire running along the side and zip tied to that harness. So that pretty much is a finished product for here. We're just gonna put everything back together in the reverse order. Put this panel back on, and I've already gone ahead and buttoned everything up in here, as you can see. Alright guys, here is a shot of the final product. You can see there's only 2 wires back there. 1 power, 1 reverse. Here's a shot of the camera and the back. Here's a shot from the passenger side. And the side here, you can see there's a little gap. Here's what the camera looks like from outside. And here's a shot of the reverse camera, pretty much the way I want it. All right, now that everything is installed, let's go ahead and test it out and see how it works. It looks like my rear camera is firing up, and to switch between camera views, you just gotta swipe left. You can see that's the front dash cam, and it looks like it's pretty much where I want it. And then the reverse camera is right here, and you can see it sees a decent amount. And let's go ahead and throw it in reverse and check it out. All right, so you can see right behind you, and you notice here that there's like a arrow here. You can actually loop through a couple of different angles, and it looks like it's going down more, so you can kind of see what's below you, which is kind of neat. And then you can just reset it back to 0. And then if you go back to another gear, it switches back to the normal menu. And let's just go ahead and see if we can go for a little drive here. So you can see the quality is really good on this camera. The reverse camera is a HD 1080p, and the front camera is a 2K resolution. So you're getting HD on the front and the back. So that's pretty neat. I'm just gonna make a quick U-turn here and just do a quick test. So you can see here, we can easily read that license plate, which I'll probably black out for you guys since I don't want you guys to stalk my neighbors. And let's take a look behind us here. You can see it's like crystal clear almost, which is kind of nice. So let's go ahead and see if I can back into my garage with the new reverse camera. So throw it in reverse. See there, you can actually see where I'm going now, which is really nice. Obviously, still use your mirrors. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps up the video. As always, I'll leave links in the description so you guys can find the products easier. If you guys have any questions, make sure you ask them down below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. As you saw, it took a lot of time to get this installation done, but once you have it, it is well worth it.
If you guys like content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next mod.